Grandpa, has it ever been a Christmas when it hasn't snowed?
Well, yes. Many years ago, when I was your age, it didn't snow for such a long time that Christmas almost had to be cancelled.
What happened? Can you tell me about it?
Of course. Are you sitting comfortably? You see, all the snow for the whole world comes from one factory. It's a beautiful place where everyone loves to be. Such a happy place. And you know, the most amazing thing is that it's powered by moonlight. The factory collects the light, and this creates the snow, which is why it sparkles so much. Without the moon, there would be no snow. However, one day, something wasn't right. The sky clouded over with the thickest cloud anybody had ever seen. The temperature began to drop, and the air became colder and colder, colder than anyone had ever known it before. It became so cold that the clouds froze. Trapped and unable to move, the clouds blocked out the moonlight, and the factory ground to a halt. Without the moonlight, there was no snow. And without the snow, there was no work. So every elf was sent home, and no one knew when they were going to be able to come back. If things continued like this, there wasn't going to be any snow, and Christmas would have to be cancelled. With nothing to do, the elves sat around the fire, huddled together, trying to keep warm against the bitter chill. For days, the elves tried to think of ways to save Christmas. If only the clouds would unfreeze, then the moonlight could be collected. One day, while walking home from collecting wood for his stove, an elf called Edward noticed all the ice on his house was melting from the heat of the fire. As he saw the flames rise, he suddenly had an idea that could save Christmas. If the heat from the fire could melt the ice, could it also melt the clouds? Dashing through the forest, he rounded up all of his friends and told them to start collecting wood. They all rushed into the trees and gathered as many logs as they could carry and brought them back to the factory. Once they had all of the wood they could gather, they hurried in building piles. When everything was ready, they set them all alight, and soon they had hundreds of blazing fires. It was so hot that they couldn't stand anywhere near them, and all this heat was going up towards the clouds. The elves gathered and gazed into the sky. No one knew what was going to happen. Would this work? Would the clouds unfreeze? Could Christmas be saved? The flames swirled and the heat rose, but nothing was happening. Everyone crossed their fingers, but still nothing. No light, no snow, and no Christmas. Then suddenly it happened. A beam of light shot through the cloud and straight into the factory. Instantly, the moonlight collector spluttered to a start. More clouds disappeared, and the moon was shining brighter than it had ever shone before. All of the machines jumped into action and were working and whirring as fast as they could. Edward rushed into the factory, followed by all the other elves. They pulled levers, dialed dials, switched switches, and finally, with a huge roar, there was snow.